Also, before the season, Ken and I both went on record and said Shedeur gonna throw for 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. Oh, look at that! Look at that!
That's sorry to keep looking down, but I wanted to put his stats up there so y'all can see. So through the bye weeks, looking at right at 1,400 yards. And listen, this ain't even counting the stats that he would have gotten. So you don't get the stats that for the miscues. And you're talking about a kid that basically could be sitting at 1,500 yards. He could have 20 touchdowns. I mean, easily could be at close to 80% in his flat pass percentage, or even 77%. And I absolutely hate that interception, though. That interception shouldn't have been there, but it is what it is. So you're talking about 16 total touchdowns at 14 rush pass and 2 rush. I mean, man, the goal line touchdown at Tennessee State, he was in there, we say, you know what I mean? Man, we left 20 touchdowns. He could easily have 20 touchdowns. Easily have 20 touchdowns. But I mean, at the end of the day, the kid is the best. I think is the best quarterback in all of FCS. I don't care about the stats to the kid at Fordham. I mean, somebody made a good point, said that they don't have a defense and they throw the whole game. So the stats is what it is. You need to make a JSU fans only page. I do. This is what this whole thing is, JSU fans only. I mean, we don't mind others coming in. I mean, we have to understand that haters are having a conundrum right now. And their conundrum is, I hate them, but I can't do nothing about it. I can't stop talking about them. Can't stop thinking about them. I feel bad for it.
So I got to mention this too. So we talking about stats, right? So last season, I made a comment. Got a lot of flack for it, right? I said, Shedeur freshman year is the best freshman quarterback season since Steve McNair. And I said his freshman campaign was better than Steve McNair's. Yep. Oh, there's no comparison. I'll say, no, I'm not saying that Shedeur was better than Steve McNair, right? Shedeur threw for 3,200 yards, 30 touchdowns with 8 interceptions. Completed about 65 to 66% of his passes. And how many yards did Steve McNair throw for his freshman year? 2,800 yards, 24 touchdowns. I think he had 12 INTs, but Steve McNair ran for 242 yards, right? And I said it ain't even close. So then we go to Steve McNair's sophomore season. Because whenever we say this, what about Steve McNair rushing yards? Again, we're not saying that Shedeur is a better player than Steve McNair. We're just saying that his sophomore season is going to be better than Steve McNair's sophomore season. And it's true. Numbers don't lie. I'm going to get to another point. So Steve McNair threw for 3,500 yards his sophomore season. He had 29 touchdowns with a 95 rating. Now, he ran for 516 yards, but guess what, Ken? He completed 55% of his passes. His freshman year, he completed 55% of his passes. But here's the caveat. We got the gist from last game against Valley, right? Because we saw a lot of people from Alcorn saying, he's stat padding. He's staying in the game. And I say, so we just going to act like Steve McNair wasn't playing a Prairie View team that didn't have scholarship players, and they was up there beating, putting like 70 points on them. But that ain't stat padding, right? We're going to act like, when they played a lot of Tennessee Chattanooga, and they was dumpster juice. And when they was going for 60 points. But that ain't stat padding, right? Y'all want to act like we can't look at these scores and pull up and see what they did and who they played, right? That's what we're going to sit here and act like. Also, I'm going to say this too. Steve McNair's greatest season was his senior season, right? He threw for 5,300 yards. He had 47 passing touchdowns and he ran for 900 yards, right? But do you know the real reason why Steve McNair's numbers were so crazy? Because Alcorn had probably the worst defense in SWAC history that season. And that's what contributed to him having those great numbers, because their defense couldn't stay out the field, and Alcorn had to score. Every game was a high-scoring game. But I'm going to say this one last point, and I'm going to shut up. So, people mention about Shedeur's completion rate, right? Because he completes a lot of passes. They'll say, his completions are like just under 10 yards. Well, I'm glad they said that, because do you know the average completion that Steve McNair had over his whole entire career? There you go on the screen, 8.5 yards per completion on average. Shedeur is right at a little over 9, but they'll say Shedeur is dinking and dunking.
So let's break this down. Wow, bro, this is interesting to look at. Now, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So, freshman year, more stats so far. Probably gonna finish sophomore year. Like I said, the percentages is not even close. I mean, the percentages, and that could, even if you factor in drops. I mean, we knew Steve McNair had a big arm. You look at those longs. The longs could be easily yak. We talking about, 8.6, 8.5, 8.3, 8.8. My goodness, you would have thought it would have been a whole lot more. 612 passing attempts his senior year. Oh my gosh.
So
47 touchdowns. He had 128 rushing attempts with 904 yards rushing.
So looking at season with 612 attempts. What comes to mind, Ken? Stat padding, right? Okay.
Bro, he had more. He had more. Man, he almost doubled his passing attempts from the year prior, and his rushing attempts. My gosh, bro.
So here's the thing I'm gonna do, Ken. If you look at Steve in their freshman year, completion percentage, Shedeur. Yards, Shedeur. Average, Shedeur. Touchdowns, Shedeur. Rating, Shedeur. Interceptions, Shedeur had way less. The only thing Steve McNair had over Shedeur freshman year was rushing yards. Okay, so he had far better, a greater freshman season, right? Let's go to 1992, his sophomore year. His completion percentage was 55%. His completion percentage. Shedeur is at 74. I'm not going to touch that no more. He had 3,500 yards. Shedeur is on pace to throw for 4,500 right now. All right, touchdown. Shedeur has 14 right now in 4 games.
He gonna have that I say Shedeur have that by the end of homecoming in Southern, easily.
Bam. So there you go, right? His rating, Shedeur has a better rating. And Shedeur is going to have way less interceptions. So again, the only thing Steve McNair is going to have over him is rushing yards. But guess what? Shedeur is not a runner, so we'll give you that. I also made the comment before the season. I said, you know what? I said, if Shedeur stays all 4 years, I said Shedeur he will break all of Steve McNair's passing records. I said that. Oh, he is not better. I didn't say that he was. I just said that he's going to break all of Steve McNair's passing records. Will he break Steve McNair's rushing records? No, he won't, because Shedeur is not a runner. Steve McNair is a better athlete than Shedeur. We give kudos to where they are. But Shedeur is going to have more than 122 touchdowns, more than 15,000 yards passing. He's going to have a way better completion percentage. And, way less interceptions. And he's going to have more wins and more SWAC titles. It's fact. Shedeur's going to have over 2,000 yards in 2 more games. So in 5 games, he's going to have over 2,000 yards. He's probably going to have about 2,300 yards in 5 games.
Hey, man, hey, this dude could finish. He could very easily finish with 45 touchdowns, close to 50 touchdowns this year, bar no injuries. And I think he's going to,
He's going to have over 70 touchdowns this season. If he gets 40 touchdowns, he had 30 last year.
Well, nobody's saying that he's so. See, this is the thing that someone says he is not better.
I never said he was.
No one ever said that he was. See, this is that part of y'all hear what y'all want to hear sometimes. It's like we said that he would have better stats and he would actually have a better if he stayed all 4 years. He could. We got to get out of this mindset of thinking that, that Steve McNair's stuff can't be touched. And I get it. We pay homage to Steve McNair.
Derek White. It don't matter. Hold on, Derek White. It don't matter the errors. Numbers are numbers. Because here's the thing that's going to kill the error part, right? Shedeur won't have 612 attempts. I can guarantee you he won't. But even if he do, well, watch this. But even if he does, he gonna justify it by having a way better. He gonna have 20 points higher on completion percentage. So that don't matter.
Yeah, if he had 612 attempts, he might finish with 8,000 passing yards. I'm saying that he gonna have at least a whole nother 100 yards. You see what I'm saying? So he might finish with at least 6,500 passing yards. That's my point.
See, the problem that when we mention Shedeur's stats against Steve McNair's, again, not one time did I say Shedeur's a better player, but he a better quarterback. He gonna have better passing numbers than Steve McNair.
Yeah, he's a much better passer of the ball from year
Steve
one to year
McNair's
two.
a better athlete.
Now Steve McNair. Now here's the thing: there has to be a natural progression because we think of Steve McNair, the senior, the Heisman candidate. That was a freshman or sophomore Steve McNair as well. And we just showed you what they look like. That's what this looked like. 55%. Steve McNair is a typical SWAC quarterback when it comes to passing percentage. And you can't debate that. I don't care how you spin it. You cannot change it. Even when he had more passing attempts, though, what'd you see? The same consistency with percentages. That's all I'm saying. So anytime you get a passer that's throwing, I don't want to hear that shit about that kid is Shedeur 20, man. He's a 20-year-old doing what he does, 19, whatever, how old he is. And he's playing in the era that he plays in.
But look, they'll say Shedeur's dinking and ducking. Pull the stats up again, dog. I mean, it's right there, black and white. Hey, man, them eights under 10, ain't it?
Hey, go ahead and hit that like button, man. Hit that like button, baby. I know we roughing the little feathers tonight. But it's okay.
Hey, them aces under 10, right? So what y'all thought? He was completing, 12 yards of completion? That's what y'all was thinking? But them numbers say otherwise.
Just saying.
Again, McNair's a better player. He is. And he's a better athlete. Shedeur a better quarterback.